Good evening, everyone. I'm Erin Wright, Deputy Chief of Staff for Planning and Policy for Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso.
And I'm Spencer Williams, Director of Planning and Topography for Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso.
This Uniform Land Use Review Procedure public hearing is being conducted from the Brooklyn Borough Hall courtroom on Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. Please note that this hearing is being streamed via WebEx and recorded to comply with the open meetings law. The video will later be posted on the Brooklyn Borough President's YouTube channel. We have 3 items on the agenda this evening. Following each applicant's presentation and any questions from the chair, members of the public who are in attendance tonight will be invited to testify on the applications. All comments are limited to 2 minutes. While this meeting is being live streamed, we do not accept virtual testimony. Members of the public may also submit comments to testimony@brooklynbp.nyc.gov for the Borough President's consideration until Friday, October 17th, 2025. Please call the first item.
Calendar item number 1, Constellation, CB 3, 5, 16, and 17. 4 public applications by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development proposing a series of urban development action area projects, UDAP, and dispositions of city-owned property that would facilitate the development of 8 new buildings with 96 units of income-restricted housing in community districts 3, 5, 16, and 17. The applicant team may approach the podium, state your name, and please present this application.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sophia Matheny, and I'm a planner on the Brooklyn planning team for the Department of Housing Preservation and Development. And I'm here with Rick Fudge and Matt Dunbar from Habitat for Humanity NYC. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you all tonight. We're excited to present this home ownership project called Constellation. We're here for our ULURP hearing and to hear your feedback on the project, which certified on July 28th, 2025. Next slide, please.
You have there you go. Wonderful.
Thank you. So the proposed Constellation cluster is made up of 8 scattered sites, currently all on vacant, underutilized city-owned land across 4 Brooklyn community boards. The project proposes the construction of 8 new buildings in Bed-Stuy, East New York, Brownsville, and East Flatbush, with approximately 96 affordable home ownership units, consisting of a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. So there are 4 land use applications for the cluster that are moving forward concurrently across community boards 3, 5, 16, and 17. The requested project approvals through ULURP include an urban development action area designation, project approval, and disposition of 16 city-owned lots. And as previously mentioned, we certified this project on July 28th. I also just wanted to quickly highlight how this project aligns with several goals from the housing element of the Brooklyn Borough President's 2025 Comprehensive Plan. So Objective 1 focuses on creating new housing of all types. And so under this objective, Strategy 8 calls for expanding shared equity models, such as community land trusts and limited equity co-ops, both of which are proposed as a part of this project. And Strategy 9 aims to maximize affordable housing development on vacant and underutilized city-owned lots, which this project also directly supports. So now I'll pass it over to Habitat for more details on the development team. Thank you. I can press it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Matt Dunbar. I'm the Chief of Staff with Habitat for Humanity, New York City and Westchester County. We are the lead developer for this project. We're an affordable home ownership not-for-profit organization that has a 40-year track record of building, preserving, and advocating for affordable home ownership. Our partner architect is Union Street Studios, who also has a 40-year track record of developing residential housing, including partnering with us on previous affordable housing developments, and Interborough Community Land Trust, which is partnering with us as a permanent owner of the land to ensure long-term permanent affordability of the development. So we wanted to start with a couple top-line benefits and special aspects of this project. It is unique in the sense that it is 100% affordable home ownership development, which, as was mentioned, really meets the goals of a diversity of affordable housing and across the four community boards in which it resides. All the projects, all the buildings will be on the community land trust in partnership with the CLT. In this model, the land will, after construction, will be transferred to the CLT for permanent ownership to ensure affordability in perpetuity, so that every one of these buildings is affordable for generations of Brooklynites and New Yorkers to be able to build affordable housing, making sure that the subsidy is retained that goes into these projects for generations to come, while at the same time providing equity building opportunities for the homeowners. And the CLT will be in partnership with the co-ops to provide technical assistance and stewardship support to ensure that long-term and durable affordability. So there are a few design and sustainability features, including meeting and exceeding the enterprise green standard, and we will also be incorporating ERV and other mechanical measures to ensure, reduction of energy efficiency, or reduction of energy usage, and a higher air quality and comfort standards. In addition, we have done some solar studies, and many of these properties will be able and potentially be able to utilize solar panels, which we will probably get into in a little bit later, but they will be able to utilize solar energy. And lastly, one of the other pieces of this, as a scattered site project across 4 community boards, it's really critical that we have robust community engagement. So for this project, we have established a community advisory board or committee in which we are bringing representatives from various nonprofit organizations and individual community members to help guide us in this process, starting off by building our bid list, as we have not selected a GC for this project or subcontractor list for this project. So we're receiving continued input for that to meet and exceed MWBE and local hiring standards, as well as identify local vendors to make sure that we are sourcing local materials. Then we will be partnering and continuing to partner with community-based organizations to get the word out so that as many local residents can become prepared with first-time homebuyer resources from local CDCs and partner organizations in advance of the marketing phase, and then partner with those organizations to get the word out to make sure as many local residents have the opportunity to apply to become homeowners with Habitat in this project. So we're excited about that, which leads us into a conversation about the history, a little bit of the background. As was mentioned, there are 8 sites scattered across 4 community boards. This is actually the second phase of a project called Mosaic and Constellation. This is the Constellation phase. All of these lots were awarded to Habitat in 2017 and 2018, so it's been 7 to 8 years to get to this point in pre-development. The smaller sites were awarded through a UDAP process and now are currently under construction. That's 13 scattered sites, resulting in 42 cooperative units. To add to our historic partnership with Central Brooklyn, we have 250 homeowners currently living in Brooklyn from our previous developments. So that first phase will result in 42 cooperative units, and then the Constellation development will result in 96 affordable units under the Open Door program. And we're excited. We'll get into the income a little bit later, but all of these are below term sheet for affordability. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Rick to get into a little bit more of the details.
Hello, my name is Rick Fudge. I'm the Real Estate Development Manager for Habitat for Humanity NYC in Westchester. So as previously mentioned, we have these 8 sites in Constellation divided among 4 community boards. These 8 sites will be grouped into 3 separate co-ops for long-term operations with an attempt to balance both proximity and scale among the buildings. So then to go through the buildings themselves. So Community Board 3 has 2 sites. The first, 908 910 Madison Street between Howard Ave and Ralph Ave, will be a 4-story building with 14 units, including about 4 one-bedroom units, 6 two-bedroom units, and 4 three-bedroom units, with unit sizes ranging from about 575 square feet to 1,031 square feet. The second site, 1901-1903 Atlantic Avenue between Ralph Ave and Prescott Place, will be a 7-story building with 20 units, including 12 one-bedroom units, 2 two-bedroom units, and 6 three-bedroom units, with unit sizes ranging from 560 square feet to 965 square feet. Slide. In Community Board 5, there are also two sites. The first, 881, 885 New Jersey Ave, between Linton Boulevard and Stanley Ave, will be a 4-story building with 8 units, including 1 one-bedroom unit and 7 two-bedroom units, and unit sizes ranging from 575 square feet to 745 square feet. And 650 Glenmore Ave, between Jerome Street and Warwick Street, which will be a 3-story building with 6 units, 3 apiece, 2 and 3 bedrooms, and unit sizes ranging from 816 square feet to 989 square feet. And then third, we have Community Board 16. These 3 sites are all pretty similar. So 1794, 1796 St. John's Place, between East New York Ave and Eastern Parkway, 8587 Legion Street, between Pitkin Ave and Sutter Ave, and 250 to 254 Herzl Street, between Blake Ave and Dumont Ave. So all 3 sites have pretty similar dimensions and will feature pretty similar designs for the buildings. They'll each be about 6 stories tall with 12 units, including 2 one-bedroom units and 10 two-bedroom units, with unit sizes ranging from 575 square feet to 755 square feet. And lastly, in Community Board 17, there is 1 site, 395, 397 East 94th Street, between Lenox Road and Wilmer Street. It's very similar to this Community Board 16 sites, similar dimensions, similar design. So it'll be a 6-story building with 12 units, 2 one-bedroom and 10 two-bedroom units, with unit sizes ranging from 603 square feet to 718 square feet. And I'll pass it back to Sophia.
So the proposed project, as we mentioned, will be developed through HPD's Open Door program, which supports affordable home ownership. These units will only be made available to first-time home buyers. So under the Open Door term sheet, affordability typically ranges from 80% to 130% AMI. But for this project, all units will be made affordable to households earning between approximately 70% to 80% of the AMI. Affordability will be preserved through a 40-year Article 11 tax exemption aligned with a 40-year regulatory period, and at closing, all units will be bound by a regulatory agreement that sets both the affordability levels and the duration. And when the time comes, all of the units will be made available to the public through HPD's Housing Connect 2.0 platform. And so this chart here just highlights the proposed unit mix and affordability for the entire Constellation cluster. We have some key figures just highlighting sales price, minimum and maximum qualifying incomes. And we also have some figures highlighting the projected monthly mortgage, as well as the utilities and maintenance fees. And I will be happy to go over these figures in more detail if there are questions at the end. And so now I just want to take some time to go over the recommendations that we received from the community boards. So CB3 and CB16 both made motions to support the project with no conditions. However, both motions failed to pass. And so as you can see, there were split votes for both boards, with the largest concerns relating to affordability. And then for CB5 and CB17, both made the recommendation to approve with conditions. We're still waiting for the official letter highlighting the conditions from CB5, but based on the conversations that we've had with them, they've just raised some concerns about the limited equity model and reserve funds. And then CB17 had some conditions regarding participation in the CLT board as well as the community advisory board. And so to wrap things up, after this ULURP hearing, we'll have our City Planning Commission hearing on November 19th. And then after that, we'll have our 50-day review period with the City Council. And if all stays on track, we're anticipating a full ULURP approval by spring of 2026. So this concludes our presentation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you speak a little bit to the effect on the project of adding more family-sized units?
Sure. So we are looking into opportunities and the feasibility of increasing the amount of family-sized units across all sites. I just want to highlight that about 76% of our units across the cluster are currently family sized. And with City of Yes, we were able to increase the total number of units by 22 from 74 units to 96 units total. So City of Yes has kind of provided more flexibility in our unit mix, and it's allowed us to try and better meet the needs of the community. So that said, adding more family size units is, like a balancing act. So the sites in all of these clusters, they're all infill sites. So that means they're smaller and more narrow. So that presents its own types of challenges trying to fit larger units within the existing building or within the proposed building footprints. So we also have to take into account subsidy requirements and just kind of try to weigh the trade-offs there.
Thank you. And it was addressed earlier, but can you talk a little bit more about the status of organizing the community advisory board and if there are any gaps that you're still looking to fill for membership on that board?
Yeah, I'll pass it over to Habitat to give more context on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we added some capacity just to really focus on the community engagement for this project. So we have a community engagement fellow from ANHD, the Association for Neighborhood and Housing Developers, that is partnering with us to really be out in the community and work with folks. And so we have about 15 people that have raised their hands to participate in the community advisory board from ranging about 7 to 8 organizations. We are still looking for more folks that are interested, especially any members that represent any parts of the faith community or civic organizations. We're especially looking to connect with block associations where these projects are located so that we can really connect with the folks that are on that block and working and living there. And so if there are recommendations or if the Borough Hall can connect us with some block associations nearby the site, we would love to meet with them or any faith leaders or civic leaders. But we do have some not-for-profit organizations that have joined, and there are also members of the community boards. I think all 4 community boards have people that have raised their hands to participate. So we're excited about that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. The panel is now excused. We will now call for testimony on these applications from members of the public who are in attendance this evening. Please note that all comments are limited to 2 minutes. At this time, we have no folks who have signed up to provide testimony on any of these items in any of the community boards. However, if you are here in person and would like to provide testimony, please raise your hand. Please come up and state your name for the record and provide your testimony.
Hello, my name is Abubakar Okeke Jang. I'm a resident of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and overall I'm supportive of this project. I understand the affordability concerns, but for a decent number of people in our community, this will be a great opportunity in order to be able to stay that preserves that. We have the, of course, the community preference, and there's going to be, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of outreach to make sure as many residents as possible will get to be a part of this. And so, in terms of like getting like co-ops and condos, like in our community, a lot of the prices are almost quadruple this project. Yeah. And so in order to be able to get something, in this range is really great. And I'm glad to see that, that they're getting ready for construction phase, hopefully soon enough.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public who would like to provide testimony on this item? Hearing no further comment, this item is now closed.
You can go ahead. Second item.
We will now call calendar item number 2. Eagle Street. Nope. Sorry.
395.
I'm going to start over again. Thank you very much. We will now call calendar item number 2. 395 Flatbush Avenue Extension rezoning. An public application by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development, the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, and the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, proposing a zoning map amendment from C64 to C612 A zoning text amendment, a disposition of city-owned property, a combined site selection and acquisition, an amendment to the Brooklyn Center urban renewal plan, and a zoning certification to facilitate a 1.1 million square foot mixed-use development with 1,260 residential units, of which 325 to 380 units would be income restricted under mandatory inclusionary housing at 395 Flatbush Avenue Extension in downtown Brooklyn, Community District 2. The applicant team may approach the podium. Please state your name and present this application.
Hi, good evening. My name is Hala Sala, and I'm the Deputy Director for Brooklyn Planning at HPD, and I'll be co-presenting today with Ian Klein from Rabina. Great. Okay, the applicant for this project is HPD alongside DCAS and DOHMH, who are collectively seeking a series of land use actions, which I will describe further in the presentation. To facilitate a development of a new 72-story mixed-use building, providing approximately 1,263 mixed-income units, approximately 141,000 square feet of non-residential space, and a public plaza. The development partners for this site are Rabina and Park Tower Group, who have been having an existing ground lease with the city to operate a commercial building on a city-owned site in downtown Brooklyn. So the site is located in the heart of downtown Brooklyn, comprising of an entire block at the intersection of Flatbush Avenue and Fulton Street. The site is a high opportunity area right on this transit-rich neighborhood, with several local resources in the surrounding area that's called out on this map. The site sits directly on top of DeKalb Avenue, BRQ subway station, and across the street from the Nevins 2345 station. In addition to the immediate train access off the site, there are also several bus lines and a city bike station in proximity to the development site. In terms of zoning, the site is currently zoned a C64, which is an R10 equivalent, and is within the special downtown Brooklyn district. So currently, the site is improved with an existing 7-story commercial building from the 1970s with ground floor retail and office space that's currently occupied by Verizon as a call center and a parking garage. The land is currently city-owned and under private control through an executed ground lease, and the current ground lease is set to expire in 2042 with an option to extend for an additional 30 years. Given the existing need for additional housing, the city and the developers under the current lease have partnered to restructure this lease and convert this commercial building and provide over 1,200 units. At this time, I'll now pass it over to Ian to describe the project a little bit more.
Thanks, Hala. Thank you guys for having us. So we are Rabina, which is a multi-generational family-owned development firm here in New York City. We're currently doing, among other projects, 2 mixed-income housing projects in downtown Brooklyn. Our partners in the project are Park Tower Group, and we have been co-ground leaseor together for over 30 years. We've put together what we believe is a best-in-class team to do this project, led by Deborah Burke of Ten Burke as the architect. Deborah Burke is the AA Gold Medal winner for 2025, and her firm has a lot of experience with this kind of project type. We're also partnered with Manana Construction as the contractor, which is one of the leading builders of affordable and mixed-income housing in the borough. And below them, we've assembled a best-in-class team of consultants to execute the project. So the biggest challenge to development on the site is that the subway tunnel runs directly underneath 40% of it. This means that the only location for the subway tunnel can only support the weight of exactly what's on it right now. And this means that the only location for a new tower on the site, a new building on the site, is in the northeast corner, as opposed to distributing the mass throughout the site. It also, because what could be built atop the existing tunnel is exactly what's there, we've put forth an adaptive reuse strategy to reuse the structure of the existing building over the tunnel, and then marry that with a new concrete tower in the northeast corner for the site, and then harmonize with the facade to make it look as a single building. This approach reduces construction cost and time. It's also more environmentally efficient, which allows us to maximize affordable housing on the site. So the proposed development is one 72-story building. It'll have 1,263 units, 25% of which will be permanently affordable. That will be the single largest delivery of affordable housing within a single project in this community board within a decade. The project will also have approximately 141,000 square feet of non-residential space, including 2 floors of retail, and above that, 2 floors of community facility / commercial space, which will be potentially occupied by the city via DOH-MH. The project will include significant streetscape improvements, including a 4,700 square foot public plaza on the south end of the site, a widened sidewalk along Flatbush Avenue, increasing the width of the sidewalk from 11 feet to 18 feet, and architectural improvements around the subway entry, including raising the canopy above the subway, architectural lighting, and other features. The project's targeting various sustainability qualifications, including embracing Passive House principles, Enterprise Green Community, Lead Well, and Fit Well certifications. So here is the ground floor plan of the project. You could see the public plaza at the south end of the site, the widened sidewalk along Flatbush Avenue, and then the improved subway station in the northwest corner. The retail on the project is on Flatbush and then wraps around to Hudson Street, which is intended to make sure Hudson Street is activated and not treated as a back of house space. The primary residential lobby is at the corner of DeKalb and Hudson, and then the entry to the community facility just west of that. This is a diagram of the improvements to the subway station. As you can see, we're increasing the height of the overhang from 17 feet to 23 feet, as well as providing architectural lighting and other design improvements to make the space more welcoming, functional, and habitable. This is a zoom in on the public plaza, 4,745 square feet of open plaza along Fulton Street. This has also been designed by Ten Burke Architects, and we'll show some images of that coming up. Public benefits of the project. So 1,263 total units of housing, of which 325 will be affordable. And of that, 130 will be affordable to very low income households. The project will also deliver, as we showed earlier, 10,000 square feet of community facility space, 66,000 square feet of new retail, 75,000 square feet of community facility and commercial office space. The project will be all electric, among other sustainable initiatives. We're targeting 25% MWBE in local hiring. The project will also be one of the first very large projects in Zone B to utilize 485X Zone B wage requirements for workers. And most importantly, this project requires 0 city subsidy, which means that subsidy could be allocated to other housing creation initiatives throughout the borough and throughout the city. We've been working with CASIR to go through community outreach, both elected officials and local organizations. All of those seen here on the screen today. And I'll turn it back to Hala.
Great. So this project is going to be assuming MIH option 1 to provide deeper affordability to account for the approximately 325 affordable units. Under this option, the proposed project would provide an average AMI of 60%, which is roughly $87,000 for a family of 3. There would also be approximately 130 units that would be for very low income households earning 40% AMI, which is roughly $58,000 for a family of 3. An additional 130 units would also be available for low income households at 60% AMI, and 65 units would be for moderate income households at 100% AMI, which is roughly $145,000 for a family of 3. The proposed building will also provide a mix of units ranging from studios to 3 bedrooms, with roughly 25% of the units being for family-sized units. In order to facilitate this proposed development, we are seeking a series of land use actions, including a zoning map amendment from a C64 to a C612 zoning district, 2 zoning text amendments to establish the development site as an MIH area, mapping both options 1 and 2, as well as an amendment to the special downtown Brooklyn district to allow an increase in FAR and bulk relief for certain sites that are mapped the C612 within the district. We are also seeking disposition of city-owned site, which will allow the city to dispose of the property to the developer through a renewed ground lease, to which the Brooklyn Center Urban Renewal Plan will be updated to match the expiration date of that ground lease and establish public open space for a portion of the development site. We're also seeking a combined site selection and acquisition action for the potential siting of a DOH-MH facility within the proposed building. While these plans are still in flux and a space planning exercise will determine the exact layout and specific uses that'll be housed in the space, we anticipate it including a medical clinic, office space, community facility space, and laboratories. Separately, we're also seeking a chairperson certification for a ZFA easement to memorialize the circulation and access to the MTA elevator and stair landing. And lastly, in addition to ULURP approvals, we are also seeking approval from the Public Design Commission. An environmental impact statement was also prepared for this project. The EIS identified significant adverse impacts to transportation, specifically for traffic and pedestrian, and construction for traffic, pedestrian, and noise. There were no other significant impacts identified. So in terms of timeline, the project was certified into ULURP on August 11th, and CB2 held a public hearing on September 3rd and voted to approve the project with conditions on September 17th. The conditions included doubling the number of mobility, hearing, and visually impaired units, creating a community advisory group, deepening affordability, decreasing one-bedroom units, including affordable retail and youth programming in the building, maintenance for Fort Greene Park, and the installation of countdown clocks and bus shelters. Following this evening, we will also then be moving on to city planning and anticipating ULURP approvals in the spring. This concludes our presentation, and we can now take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What would be the impact of adding deeper affordability on this site, and would this result in providing fewer units overall?
So I could take this one. So when we started the project, we went to Councilwoman Hudson and presented both MAA option 1 and MAA option 2 affordability. The economics of the project are agnostic to either program. Crystal suggested that we take this to the community board, which we did. In our pre-certification meetings with the community board, we again presented them with the two options, and the community board indicated a preference for MAH option 1. So we proceeded with that as the baseline for the project. In their recommendations, the community board expressed a preference for increased 40% AMI units, noting that they understood that those units would be likely offset by additional 80 or 100% AMI units. Our feeling is as long as the average is 60% AMI, the project economics hold up, and we could accommodate whatever is best for the community based on their preferences.
Okay, thank you. How would the proposed DOH-MH facility compare with the existing DOH-MH facility on Flatbush Avenue extension?
Sure. So there's the existing facility at 295 Flatbush, which includes 3 clinics, as well as the vital records storage vault, which is where all of the kind of birth records and death records are held. Additionally, in that space, there is the Office of Health Insurance Services, which certifies enrollment counselors who meet with clients and patients and improve access to benefits by assisting them through this enrollment process. The existing facility is really in need of an expansion and just streamlining their use of their space. And DOH-MH is currently unable to provide services of a neighborhood health action center in downtown Brooklyn. So these health centers are intended to reduce health inequities and improve health outcomes across the city. These are kind of flexible spaces that can be used for various purposes, including family wellness suites, multi-purpose rooms for community-based organizations, space for workshops and trainings, and spaces for conducting research and evaluation programs. So as part of the new development here at 395 Flatbush, DOHMH is seeking approvals to potentially acquire roughly 81,000 gross square feet of space within the building that would be either office, clinic, or community facility space to support this kind of variety of needs for the neighborhood and expand their operation in downtown Brooklyn. As noted earlier, DOHMH would still need to do some sort of site planning exercise to really hone in on what space needs are required. But there are really no plans at this time to close that facility. It will remain in operation.
Thank you. Are there any plans for setting aside units for NYCHA residents, formerly homeless households, or Community District 2 residents?
Sure. So starting with the community preference, there is a 20% set aside for Community Board 2 residents. If the marketing happens after 2029, then that will go down to 15%. In terms of NYCHA, we aren't able to do a separate set aside due to fair housing laws. However, there is definitely an interest, or not even an interest, the development team will be doing a marketing outreach plan to reach these residents and help them become aware and informed of when these units come online, as well as assist with the application. I'd also just want to note that these residents also qualify for the units that would be available through Housing Connect. And then lastly, the project will comply with all legal requirements applicable for housing development, but is not currently contemplating setting aside any units for formerly homeless individuals. But there are currently 2 other proposed projects that HPD is leading that were recently designated in this district that will both are proposed with 30% set aside for formerly homeless individuals and families, and those will be located at 153 Nevin Street and 108 to 114 3rd Avenue. And I also just want to note on NYCHA that the team has also started meeting with various tenant associations. They've met with the Whitman president of the tenant association and started that engagement and plan to continue engaging with NYCHA residents and making sure they're aware of these units when they're available.
Thank you so much. Last question. Are there contingency plans if site conditions are not as complicated as feared? If the development team is able to accomplish savings compared to the cost projections, does HPD have guidance or mechanisms to direct these savings toward additional affordability on the site?
Sure. So I think, one thing we really want to hone in on is the fact that this project is really providing a number of public benefits without any city subsidy. So that's definitely something that the department is, really wanting to make sure is noted. And I think on top of that, there was a feasibility analysis of the existing site conditions that our development partners alongside their engineering and architectural consultants in coordination with the MTA really kind of looked into the site constraints here. So the team will kind of continue to analyze potential cost savings and value engineering as we are getting closer to construction, post ULURP and post PDC approval. And we're definitely looking to explore ways that we can maximize affordability, but without using any city capital funds or, losing any of it's like balancing with all the other public benefits that are being provided through this project. And Ian, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add there. Okay, great.
Great. Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
All right, before we call for public comment on this item, I know that there's a number of folks who have entered the room and maybe had not had the opportunity to sign up. And so I'm going to invite any folks who want to speak on this item who have not signed up on the sign-in sheet or to provide public comment to just come up and approach the desk here and to indicate that you would like to provide testimony. And I'll give folks a moment before I then call the names that we have. So thank you. All right. First, we will have Mark Landolina. And Mark, you will be followed by Rosamond Fletcher.
Hello, good evening. My name is Mark Landolina. I'm the Director of Real Estate and Economic Development at the Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, the business improvement district here in downtown Brooklyn. The partnership strongly supports the proposed redevelopment of 395 Flatbush Ave. This project represents a rare and timely opportunity to reimagine a prominent but sadly underperforming location at the crossroads of Flatbush Ave and Fulton Street, one of the major gateways to Brooklyn. The proposal would bring over 1,200 new mixed income homes, including 300 permanent affordable housing units. At a time of acute housing shortage, NYC urgently needs projects like this to promote affordability, stability, and equity. Beyond housing, this development will activate the streetscape with new retail, a landscape public plaza, and much needed improvements to the DeKalb Ave's subway station entrance, all of which enhance the pedestrian experience in one of the city's most transit-rich and popular corridors. These public realm improvements address infrastructure needs that are critical to the long-term functionality and livability of the neighborhood, and they should be meaningfully considered as part of this ULURP process. Downtown Brooklyn has evolved into a true mixed-use 24/7 district. The transformation of this key site with thoughtful integration of housing, transit, open space, community benefits, street-level activity is all entirely consistent with this trajectory. We urge Borough President Reynoso to consider the project's potential benefits, and we look forward to the continued engagement as it moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker will be Rosamond Fletcher.
Thank you. Thank you to the Borough President and team. My name is Rosamond Fletcher, and I'm Executive Director of the Fort Greene Park Conservancy. We've partnered closely with New York City Parks as the primary steward of Fort Greene Park for nearly 25 years. On September 3rd, we provided testimony at Community Board 2's hearing to share concerns about the impact of 395 Flatbush Extension on Fort Greene Park. Since then, CB2 issued its conditional support of the project with the condition that the developers make a, quote, meaningful financial contribution to Fort Greene Park Conservancy to support ongoing maintenance and operations of the park. I'm here tonight to urge the Borough President to affirm and advance CB2's condition concerning the park. We've made progress in discussion with the developers, so we've refrained from organizing a large presence this evening. Fort Greene Park is well used. Data shows that the park use per acre in Fort Greene Park is actually double that of Prospect Park and nearly the same as Central Park, the most visited park in the country. This may be a good problem for public space, but it results in significant wear and tear on the park's landscape. Barren and compacted soil, erosion of the glacially formed hill, and exposed tree roots that threaten the park's canopy. It's challenging for park staff to address these impacts, and it'll be more difficult with thousands more residents and dogs. Per the draft environmental impact statement, the project would change the open space ratio to 24% of New York City's guideline, constituting a significant adverse quantitative impact. There should be 189 acres in the area, but there would be only 45, 30 of those being Fort Greene Park. The statement claims this is addressed by a plaza and private amenity space, but we strongly disagree. We all know that residents of 395 Flatbush will use Fort Greene Park. So let's sustain the park for all of its users, including future residents of 395 Flatbush. It's a false choice to say that we cannot realize the affordable housing the city needs and support the park. If we are creative, we can. It's in all our interests that the park survive and thrive. So we're establishing a maintenance and operations fund. We've requested $300,000 annually from the developers of this project. We're aiming for a broader fund, future fund of $3 million per year. The Borough President's recommendation can address the city's need for more housing, and it can serve as a thoughtful model of planning that demands ongoing investments in its park infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker will be Tiara Williams. Tiara, you'll be followed by Idris Abdullah.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for giving me a chance to speak. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm a Local 79 member and organizer, but I'm a 36-year member of the community of Flatbush, and I've been here for a while, and I love it here. Either way, I am here with members of our local who also live in Brooklyn to say that we are in support of the project for many reasons. On a parenting aspect, my sister went to LIU, so like that one corner right there is just horrible. People selling CDs, trying to sell you drugs. People sleeping there. I used to pick up every day, every night from school, no matter what time of the day it was. And she took late classes some days, she took early classes, and it just never changed. Revitalizing that corner can make it safer for the people that are going to LIU, going to Brooklyn Paramount, which I frequent shows there with my daughter. We just went to a Gracie's Corner show there, and we wound up not taking the train and taking the Uber because the train was just disgusting and just seemed unsafe. And my daughter's only 2, and I had my niece with me, and she's only 4. On the community side, as far as affordable housing, I think this is great for us, right? We all talk about how New York City really needs affordable housing, how we're in a crisis, but nobody talks about the financial aspects of how much it costs to build, how much it costs to live here, and how just expensive everything is getting, right? So I appreciate the developers to come to, Local 79 and partner with us, because that just ensures that in good faith, they're trying to create really good jobs for people in the community. Because although we are looking for more affordable housing here, the problem is not just affordable housing, is who actually can afford it. I was only able to afford, I own multiple dwellings now. I've only been an organizer 5 years, but I have 3 houses. I own 3 apartments. I wound up buying my grandmother's old apartment, but that was only because someone gave me an opportunity to make real money and to have real benefits. I don't pay out of pocket, and I'm not begging for Medicaid. I'm not begging for, anything from anybody else. It's a right that I get from working with Local 79. I became an organizer because of my efforts and helping people in non-union get into unions. And the only way we can create this space is if we start partnering with good people that can create good jobs for these people. 9, decal went up horribly. It was many injuries on the job. The developer had many issues, and the contractor lost the job and gave it to LBG, which was worse. 505 State Street went up horribly. There was no real union jobs. They picked the people that are union there, that they have no other competition. Like elevators, there's no non-union elevators for real. Nobody actually does non-union elevator work. So you have to hire union work. But when it comes to the laborers, and you come to the electricians, and you come to HVAC, they overlook the union because they can use non-union and exploit those workers to do all of this expensive work on the back of these exploited workers. So we're here in favor of the project, just not as community members, but as Local 79 members, because we are in favor of, jobs going up fair and people making a good amount of money. And I appreciate the developers for actually reaching out to us, unlike other projects that have gone up on Flatbush Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker will be Idris, followed by Stephanie Rhodes.
Good evening. My name is Idris Abdullah. I'm a long-standing resident of Brooklyn. I grew up in Bedford-Stuyvesant, grew up in Brownsville, grew up in East New York, Crown Heights, et cetera, et cetera. I became a business owner. I became a homeowner. One of the things I would like to say in favor of this project with Habitat for Humanity, When they came to our board, I think they was upfront and I'm speaking on behalf of I live in the Community Board 3 area. So when they came to the Community Board 3 and they did this presentation in front of our landmarks committee, we understood, because a lot of us have been on the board and we've seen where things have came and we've seen where things have gone. I've been involved with the community board for over 35 years, serving as a community board member as well as one of the members of the land use committee. So I've seen a lot of come and go. I can say strongly that this project that Habitat is bringing forth is a project that is definitely needed. We cannot please everyone and everybody, but we have to work on the areas that we can work on to please those individuals. One of the dilemmas, I think, in our community meeting with the community was first of all, we have a lot of new community board members on Community Board 3. So sometimes they have to slow down and begin to understand and learn the context of where the community came from, where we've been and where we have been trying to go, where we're trying to go. A lot of the community in general, the dilemma was looking at what the expense was, but not understanding that this wasn't an expense that Habitat had created. This is an expense that they have no control over. This is an expense that through the fluctuation of the city and the way everything is rising, this is where the numbers begin to come from. So if this is a situation that they have no control over, then this is a situation that we're going to have to figure out a way on how to deal with it. But in a project like this, going across the boards, and the only reason why I mentioned all of the areas that I lived in, because I understand not just in Bedford-Stuyvesant, not just in Crown Heights, not just in East New York, not just in Brownsville. We're dealing with this through the entire sector of Brooklyn. So again, when these type of projects come up, we have to figure out a way to welcome these projects. It's not going to be for everybody, but it will give some people the advantage that they need to, again, begin to take that step forward. So I would like to say, I hope that this project and the borough president and the other entities really see the actual reality of what the community's concern is and what the actual reality is, it that the inflection, and that they can only do it based upon the fluctuation. If they submit numbers that is too low, then we set Habitat is set up for failure. And then when they provide the apartments and the homes to the people, they set them up for failure. But again, I'm looking full support of Habitat. And again, the last thing is we are welcoming the putting together the committees, because this is extremely important to getting that input to where the community has a say. So the community have the hands-on, communities ideas and the community's suggestions is being heard. So again, I thank Habitat for Humanity for that, because you don't get that from a lot of developers. But again, thank you and good luck with the project.
Thank you, Idris. One quick question for you. Just wanted to confirm that you're testifying regarding the Constellation project.
Yes, the Constellation project, yes.
We have noted your testimony for that, though that item has passed, but we will make sure that you are counted, that your voice is on the record there.
Thank you.
Did you have anything to offer in addition for 395 Flatbush?
No, but good luck.
Okay. Just wanted to double check. Thank you. Our next speaker will be Stephanie Rhodes. And Stephanie will be followed by Veronica Yurovsky.
Hello, Stephanie Rhodes, Fort Greene resident, here to speak in favor of the project. Listen, the city needs more housing, period, of all kinds. First and foremost, that's why I'm here. I am also here as an area resident, and I just want to say I appreciate Rossman's comments tonight. I understand the concerns. I use the park every day. I hope your ongoing discussions with the applicant are productive. I do want to see the park sustained. So just wanted to address that. Beyond that, I mean, I've long thought this is an underutilized lot. I think this is a fantastic use for it. Um, Beyond that, this is superior access to transit, adjacency to the downtown business district. One thing I'd like to address, because I feel like Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, you've already addressed all the wonderful aspects of the project, and I don't need to take up any more of anybody's time. Regarding the condition for deeper affordability, I understand where the developer is coming from in terms of needing to maintain 60%. I would just urge the borough president, when considering this application, just think what's financially feasible for the project. Obviously want to see this move forward and want to see it be successful, and appreciate that there is no city subsidy involved and the market rate can cross subsidize the affordable and all of the many public benefits. For both.
Thank you for your testimony. Veronica, you are next.
Hello, sorry, I'm short. Hello, my name is Veronica and I live in Brooklyn, not too far away from here. And I'm a member of Open New York. I'm here today because, like the majority of renters in this city, including people I personally know and love, are paying too much for housing. So needless to say, I'm in favor of this project. It will provide over 300 affordable units in a very transit-rich area of Brooklyn with access to a ton of services, jobs, restaurants, bars, hospitals, everything. That's 300 more units than the 0 affordable units that the building that currently stands provides. I'm also excited about the open space and about the improvements to the DeKalb station that I do agree is very bad. So overall, I think this project is going to bring over 1,200 units. Again, that's 1,200 more than the 0 that we have right now, during a time that we have an unprecedented housing crunch, and every little bit helps. So I really hope that this project gets approved. Thank you.
Roy, did you want to speak? Yes. Okay. Please approach the podium. Thank you, Roy.
So my name is Roy Fergus. I'm the Vice President for Facilities at Long Island University, and we strongly support this project, right? Over the last 7 years, we've been transforming to a teaching and research university. We intend to be research level 1 by 2030, and this is very much in line with an alignment with just the development activity here in downtown Brooklyn. We're very much aligned with the team. We've had conversations with them, and as we develop our campus and become more accessible for the community and or communities that would frequent the area, we're just very much in support of the development and just the enhancement that this represents. Obviously, with the Paramount project, that the Paramount Theater sat for many, many years, and it represents a jewel in our Rock Nation School. It provides an alignment with our music and technology entrepreneurship program. And so those activities, along with this development, represents a great opportunity for downtown, and we're just 100% in support. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, Roy. Are there any more members of the public who would like to provide testimony on this item? All right, hearing none. This item is now closed. We will now move on to calendar item 3, 1417 Avenue U rezoning. A private application by 1417 Avenue U Holding LLC, proposing a zoning map amendment from R5-C13 to R7A-C24. A text amendment to map a mandatory inclusionary housing area, and a cancellation of restrictive declaration to facilitate a new 83,166 square foot, 7-story residential commercial mixed-use building with approximately 76 residential units, of which 19 to 23 would be permanently affordable under mandatory inclusionary housing at 1417 Avenue U in Homecrest, Community District 15. Please state your name and present this application.
Good evening. My name is Frank St. Jacques. I'm with Ackerman LLP. We're land use counsel for this project. It's a collaboration between two local firms, June's Construction and Apex Development. I'm here with Chris Corrales of Apex. Both firms are active and have experience developing within Brooklyn. So the rezoning area is on the north side of Avenue U between East 14th and East 15th Streets. It was designated as an R5 zoning district in 1961. And a private application in 1979 established a C13 commercial overlay between East 14th Street and East 15th Street to a depth of 150 feet from Avenue U. This was intended to facilitate the development of the site with a drive-through bank and accessory parking lot. At the time, a restrictive declaration was recorded against the site requiring development of the drive-through in accordance with a specific site plan and traffic signage plan. Also note that the rezoning area is within the outer transit zone. So this land use map shows the land uses and built context in the area. It's generally commercial along Avenue U, a local retail corridor that runs east to west. Avenue U is considered a wide street at approximately 80 feet. The mid-blocks are generally lower density residential with some multifamily apartment buildings on block ends and within the mid-blocks. I highlighted a few of those there. The 6 stories or those buildings that are denoted with a 6. And on the block end between on Avenue V between 14th and the elevated subway line just north of the project, just south of the project, there are additionally 2 other 6-story buildings. The rezoning area is located 1 block west of the Avenue U subway station serving the Q. The elevated rail line is shown in purple on this map, and we'll see it in another slide in a moment. And there's also several bus lines that operate within the surrounding area, including an express bus to Manhattan. Sorry. Great. And then on this tax map, you can see the rezoning area, essentially the block front between East 14th and East 15th. The development site is a single applicant-owned tax lot 37. It's approximately 12,600 square feet. It's a corner and interior lot that is currently cleared for development and was previously improved with that 1-story commercial building, initially a bank and then retail. And then several non-applicant owned tax lots are included on the western side of the block shown here. That surrounding context is shown in this aerial view. Here looking north, you can see how close the rezoning area is to the Avenue U Q station, and some of that existing multifamily context and surrounding 1 and 2 family homes on the mid-blocks. Just note some statistics with respect to Community District 15. It has a rent burden of approximately 48.4%. That's higher than Brooklyn overall at 45.4% and higher than New York City at 44.2%. The housing stock is aging. About 90% is 45 years old or older, and about 73% is 65 years old or older. So we're here proposing 3 land use actions. The first is a zoning map amendment to change the existing R5 C13 zoning district to R7A C24, and also R5, where we're asking to reduce the depth of the commercial overlay on the western side of the block. A zoning text amendment to establish the rezoning area as a mandatory inclusionary housing area. we're proposing option 1. And a modification of restrictive declaration, that's to cancel that moot restrictive declaration relating to the former bank use of the site. So the proposed zoning district boundary would extend on that block front, again, on the north side of Avenue U between East 14th and East 15th. R7A is a mid-density district that would facilitate the proposed development, which I'll discuss in a moment. And R7A is mapped throughout the surrounding area within Brooklyn Community District 15 and the neighboring District 14 to the north. You can see on this map, it's mapped extensively along Ocean Avenue, Kings Highway, and Coney Island Avenue, and via private rezoning on Avenue X between East 2nd and East 3rd to the southwest of the site. We believe that the proposed R7A is appropriate for this site because it's transit-oriented and on a wide street. The proposed actions would facilitate the redevelopment of the site with a new 7-story mixed-use building. It's approximately 83,000 square feet of floor area to reach that 5.01 maximum FAR. The building does not achieve the maximum height that would be permitted within the proposed R7A because it's a corner site. The most efficient building plan is for a 7-story building that still has double-loaded corridors, and I'll show you that in plan in a moment. The majority of the building, about 72,000 square feet, would be residential with about 11,000 square feet for commercial. This yields 76 total apartments, 19 of which would be affordable per MIH. The unit distribution is for 6 studios, about 60% 1-bedrooms at 46 1-bedrooms, and then 24 2-bedrooms, or around 30%. There would also be a cellar accessory parking to meet the accessory parking requirement for those residential uses. Here on the site plan, you can see the building configuration. Essentially, it's a L-shaped building with the first floor built full. It would rise to 7 stories at the corner of Avenue U and East 14th Street, with a step down to 6 stories at the northern edge of the building along East 14th Street, with open space above that 1-story roof on at the interior of the site. And this is a ground floor plan showing how the first floor would be allocated for local retail, with the entrance to the cellar parking along East 15th, and the residential lobby is highlighted in yellow at the center of East 15th Street. I'm just showing the cellar floor plan here. With respect to parking, we have below-grade accessory parking for 18 cars. It's about 24% of the proposed units. Only 9 are required. The calculation is 15% of 57 of the standard or non-MIH units, which yields 9. None are required for the 19 MIH units, and we're able to provide an additional 9 spaces. The cellar of the building would be excavated in full, so we're able to accommodate some additional parking spaces without any adverse impact on the building programming or construction costs. I'll move through these next slides quickly. These are just some illustrative massings from the corner and sides of the project, and then showing the active streetscape. Avenue U is a very active commercial corridor, so the intent is to continue to have an active street with ground floor retail and glazing. And then finally, I'll just run through the MIH breakdown under MIH option 1, which requires 25% of the residential floor area at a weighted average of 60% AMI, with 10% at 40% AMI. This is 8 units at 40, 3 units at 60, and 8 units at 80. And the corresponding unit distribution, rents, and maximum incomes are shown in this chart. That concludes my presentation. I know I went through that quickly, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Just a couple questions for you. Can you speak to any comments or concerns raised during the community board's review and what modifications they proposed if they would affect the project?
Sure. So I'll note that we got a recommendation for disapproval at Community Board 15 a couple weeks ago. The vote was 29 to 10, 29 in favor of a recommendation for disapproval, but 10. So it's, about 25% of the community board did vote for this project. The concerns we heard were mostly related to parking, a lack of parking for this project, although like the parking requirements are low. We're in the outer transit zone. So we did try to accommodate some of that concern about parking by providing additional parking spaces at the site. But what we heard is that was not deemed to be sufficient by the community board. They had similar concerns with respect to potential traffic and congestion concerns that would be in their minds resulting from this project. I will note that this was a green fast track project, which was not required to do a full environmental assessment statement. So in terms of, an environmental review, this project was really just determined to be too small to trigger some of the environmental impacts that, would relate to increased or significant adverse impacts with respect to traffic and construction at the site. And with respect to modifications, the community board did not issue a written recommendation. We would be, willing to accommodate some more parking. I think, it's not clear that would ameliorate their concerns. And I know that the borough president, in terms of aligning this project fully with the borough president's goals for transit-oriented development, we're trying to walk, somewhat of a fine line between, providing more parking and providing housing. Obviously, the goal here is to provide transit-oriented housing.
Yeah. Lining up for our next couple questions about reducing the parking.
Sure.
So knowing that the project is providing double the parking spaces, would the arrangement of where the parking is, if the number of spaces were reduced, would you be able to increase the number of housing units at this project, or are they just in a space where it wouldn't really make a difference?
It's the latter. All the parking is in the cellar where residential units would not be permitted to be located. And there's already ample space for residential amenity space and mechanicals. So there's really no either benefit in terms of an increase in housing or amenity space or additional costs associated with those additional spaces.
Okay, that was the second part too, is does including those extra 9 units affect the cost of the project at all? Is it increasing development costs, or would you have to excavate anyway for the required?
Sorry to interrupt. It does not increase the cost of the project. We're, because there is a parking requirement and we didn't want to reduce the potential number of units or reduce the units so much that we would waive out of parking. The idea was to locate it in the cellar, and there was sufficient space. It's a pretty large footprint to just add an additional row of parking in addition to the 9 required.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excused.
All right, we will now call for testimony on this application from members of the public in attendance. At this time, no members of the public have signed up to provide testimony. If anyone who is in attendance would like to provide testimony, please approach the podium. Hearing no comments and seeing no speakers, this item is now closed.
And this ULURP public hearing is also closed. The Borough President will review these applications and submit his recommendation to the City Planning Commission, which will hold its hearing on these items at a later date. As a reminder, members of the public may submit comments to testimony@brooklynbp.nyc.gov for the Borough President's consideration until October 17th, 2025. And this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.